I used to not have an empathetic bone in my body. I used to think if you're being a jerk, I'm going to be a bigger jerk to you. If you're being an ass, things are going to happen, you know. But now that I'm a little older, I'm a little bit more understanding. People, they got things going on in their lives. You know if that person being a jerk to you just had, one of their parents die that day, or their wife or their husband served them with divorce papers. They found out that their kid's a crackhead. You don't know what's going on in people's lives and what's affecting them that day and why they're being a jerk. Even people who are jerks on a regular basis, Some of them are mental. Some of them are just, they had bad childhoods or whatever. And as I get older, I kind of learn to, meet their jerkness with kindness and try to be understanding of it. Some people are just difficult people. And what we can try to do is not be one of those difficult people. And that's been probably one of the biggest changes I've made in my life is not being the jerk and being a lot more kinder and understanding to people. But yeah, that comes with age. So this next little tidbit, as I go through my tidbits today about what I learned over 50, is probably the most impactful one on me personally. I was probably in my early 20s, and my friend John, or mid-20s, his wife Tiffany was having some kind of party. I think it was a baby shower party or a baby party, I don't know, one of those things. A lot of people were invited. So I asked him, and remember when I was in my 20s, I was kind of a nut. I had a lot of opinions and a lot of things I expressed. And he told me she didn't want me going because she wanted to be a positive party, and she didn't want me going and bringing everybody down, complaining about something or what have you. And it didn't really hurt my feelings. It just kind of opened my eyes how that wasn't cool. I appreciate John being honest with me about that, but it made me think. And I had my own run-ins with people that are always negative and always complaining. And as I got older, I started to care less about a lot of things and started to get annoyed at the negativity. And today, I tell you, I'm not a negative person at all. There isn't a negative bone in me. I try to stay positive, try to talk positive. Now as an older person, I see a lot of positivity in things and growing older. This is very for sure. Now listen, nobody likes negative people. Nobody likes being around negative people. People who complain a lot. People who got a lot to say that isn't positive. And I know a couple of people are older too, and they're still negative about things. It's like nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be around you if you're negative. So be positive, have good things to say, point out good things. Don't always point out bad things and everything. Don't try to always find a flaw. Be generally a good natured person who's people enjoy being around, and don't be negative. Negative is just a waste of time and nobody likes it. I'm looking at these dogs in this park over here. Anyway, cheers. When you're in your 20s and 30s, even your 40s, you're looking to make friends. Maybe you're looking for people to date. You get attached to people in the little groups. And when I turned 50, I kind of learned that you can't get too attached to people. They change, you change, or you just find things out and it's a letdown. And unfortunately, not to sound negative, it's not negative. It's a positive because you get to see people for who they are. But most people are going to let you down. And not let you down like they're bad or anything. It's just that not what your expectations are. Because the thing is, you really never know people. Most people won't let you see who they truly are. They'll act in certain ways. They'll make certain decisions. And after I turned 50, I realized that, the best thing is learn how to live with yourself, how to enjoy your own time and your own space, and you'll be better off for it. So I used to set all these goals, and I would say like July 1st, I'm going to stop drinking, or July 1st, I'm going to eat healthier, or July 1st, I'm going to do more exercise, learn Spanish, learn algebra. I don't know, all these little things. And I would get down on myself because by July 2nd, I was eating crap and having a drink and speaking horrible Spanish. But since I turned 50, I kind of realized we all do that, and there's always a new day and a new month and a new goal we can set. And if we live another 30 years, we have plenty of time to try again. And it ain't no big deal. So that's where I am with that. This one might be a little bit more specific to men, but I've learned to just shut up. Younger, you always want to have an answer for something, especially being a guy. You want to help, you want to give a suggestion, you want to talk, you want to share your opinion, give your opinion. And sometimes it's better just to keep your mouth shut. You know, if you disagree with something, no one really cares about your opinion anyway. If you think there's a better way of doing something, sometimes people aren't going to listen, or you should be able to tell that they're not even going to listen. So just shut up. Just watch what happens, and let things kind of play out the way they play out, and maybe have a good laugh afterwards if you really were right. But I'm learning to just not say much anymore, and not share the opinions that I used to share all the time, and just be an observer of life. I used to think objectively that there's a right and a wrong, a good and a bad, negative and a positive. And I'm starting to realize that doesn't exist. It's all subjective. For example, the guy I work with, I think it's wrong to steal. It's my opinion. He sees that in certain cities or areas where there's a lot of poverty or it's extremely expensive, that stealing is okay. And he really believes that. Or he even believes that if there's a car and its windows are rolled down and it's sitting on a street, it's okay to grab something out of the car because the windows are down and it's sitting in a public street. So that's his idea of right. I think it's wrong. We see that in politics and religion and all kinds of stuff, So it is really subjective what right and wrong is. And what I've learned is that you cannot convince people what is right and wrong. They will believe what they're going to believe, and no argument in the world is going to change their mind. Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, Pepsi, Coke, people make their choices, and for whatever reason they stick with it. And I don't waste my time now as a person above 50 to try to convince anybody of anything. Most of the time I don't really even express my opinion all that much. I'm just kind of like, yeah, all right, cool, let me hear what else you got to say, and I'll think about it on my own. But it's not even worth trying to argue or change anybody's mind, because you're just not going to. The Billy Joel song, Angry Young Man, the lyrics are pretty good in it. It's a song about how he had all these beliefs and he was just an angry young man, and he was always fighting and arguing. And now as an older person, which is funny because he wrote the song like 40 years ago, he's really old now. But as an older person, just waking up was its own triumph. Where when he was younger, he talked about all these ideas and radicalizations and having all these wins, and then when you get old, just getting up in the morning, having some water, making a coffee, and having a good day, that in itself is a win. That's your goal every day, right? Angry Young Man by Billy Joel. It's a pretty good chorus in there. But anyway, that's where I'm at. I've got nothing to prove to anybody, and I don't care. I'll listen to your side of things, and cool. Thumbs up to you. I respect your beliefs and what you think. I might in here think they're crazy, but you won't know that. So Quick story. I was about 42 years old, and they had a Barrett show here, which is a car show where a bunch of old guys come with money, young guys too, and they buy these really nice, expensive cars. And there's a bunch of them sitting at this bar called Phillies on Scottsdale Road. And I sat down with them, and they were all in their 60s and 70s. And I said, hey, if you were 42 years old, what would you tell yourself? And they said, don't spend money on anything unless you absolutely have to, unless it's a need. Don't spend it on the wants. Don't spend it on the feel goods. Only spend on the things that you need, because you're going to need it when you get older. I thought about that. That and a couple other things, you know. Started saving a lot of money after that. But retrospectively, you know, old people, they know their stuff. It's smart to listen to them. And now that I'm over 50, I'm glad I listen to those guys, because you know, my finances are not in shambles, and I listen to them a little bit. And I will always listen to older people. They've been around a lot longer, and they got some wisdom to share with you. So that's one thing I've learned is listen to those who know. And you know, if I could go back and tell myself what to do at 30 years old, I'd have a long conversation, probably some bloody knuckles from it. So I try to think of what I would do when I'm 65. What would I tell myself now at 50? And try to do those things, you know. So it's one of the things you learn when you get older, is that it's good to listen to those a lot wiser than you are. Man, I remember I could eat a big breakfast, go out through my day, and then have a big lunch and keep on powering through, and then have myself a nice dinner, and then go out that night and have a good time. And my body would be fine with that. After I turned 50, I realized my day is going to depend on what I eat. How grumpy I'm going to be, how I feel, just how I move. If I know I got some stuff to do that night, I need to be eating salads or vegetables or something. If I eat like a big spaghetti meal for lunch, I'm done. Ain't going to get nothing done that day. Or if I have a drink or two, if I have a cocktail, everything else, all plans go out the window. I'll be useless. So after 50, the one thing I realized is that you can set the tone of your day pretty much by what you eat. Emotions and good decision making does not go hand in hand. Nobody ever made a good decision based on an emotional reaction. Making decisions when you're being emotional will just get you in trouble. If you do make a decision that happened to be a good one out of an emotional reaction, that's just due to luck. But don't make decisions when you're emotional. Big thing I learned as I get older. And then you learn not to be so emotional. Your decisions just end up a lot better that way. And yes, I did put my camera in the toilet to get this picture, to get this video. Bye. When I was younger, I used to live on the Jersey Shore, and we would go out and have a blast. We'd sit around and groom up and iron our shirts, and I don't know what other silly things you do when you're that age. I actually had friends, male friends, who would wear cover up. But you know, being at my age now, vanity over utility will really save the day. I've got a truck. It's a 2010 Toyota, and it's ugly. It's ugly as hell. And sometimes it even smells a little after it rains. But you know what? That thing, never had to bring it in for work. It's paid off. Insurance is cheap. It gets me to where it needs to go. You take your car with the four wheels and you drive to work every day and you drive it home. That's what it does for you. Mine does the same thing. It's fully manual. Maybe I'll do a video on it. Manual locks, manual windows, manual stick shift. It's a regular AM FM radio. Yep, never have a problem with it. Thing never breaks down. Extremely reliable. It's utility. And I think you probably save the most money when you think about cars like that. You know, utility over vanity. But it also, you know, now that I'm older now, in my 50s, it really matters in a lot of other places too. You know, I think ugliness in people is what matters. ugliness in a car, ugliness in, I don't know. Sometimes people think one of my dogs is ugly, but he's not. He's a pretty boy. But anyway, utility over vanity. So I was one of those people that got into like everything, every hobby, every interest, everything you can think of. And I thought I was a curious person. But you know, after turning 50, I really became a lot more curious. But you're just more selective, and you're curious about the things, I don't know if you'd say they matter, but a little bit deeper. You know, it's more of an intellectual curiosity. You start reading a little bit more, listening a little bit more, trying to understand the world a little bit more, trying to understand people. So after 50, that curiosity, you know, I want to say it increased, but it probably more changed on an intellectual level than increased. But definitely a lot more curious after I turned 50. Stop sign. And when I was in my 20s, I was hanging out with all kinds of different people. My 30s, I moved out to Arizona and met a whole nother kind of different people. And in my 40s, I started thinking about it a lot. Do I really need this variety of people in my life? And since turning 50, I really thought about it. And there's no easy way to say this except the truthful way, which is gotta dump the losers. If someone isn't enriching you, if someone isn't adding to your existence, then there's no time for them. They're not doing you any good. You know, over 50, you shouldn't be making stupid life mistakes, you know, dating whack jobs, doing dumb things at work, talking back to cops to get yourself arrested, stealing, you know, all those stupid bad things that people do when, you know, they're young. And you know, I have no use for people like that in my life. You know what? They don't have any use for me either. So it's just better off that we just don't coexist together. And you know, over 50, I want quality people as friends, as associates, as people that I will talk to. So that's what I've learned over 50 with friends. And yeah, dump the losers. Man, I used to be really impatient. And you know, as I get older, watching other people get impatient makes me more patient. Sometimes I drive slow on purpose. Just watch. No, I shouldn't say that. That's mean. Yeah, patience. I'm a lot more patient now that I've gotten older. And when I see somebody losing it because, you know, line's taking too long, or somebody's checking out too slowly, or they're driving in their car and they're banging on their steering wheel and you're beeping, that makes me laugh. It's almost funny. No, it is funny. So yeah, I'm very patient these days. I don't care how long things take. I'll just sit there and think, get in my own head, you know. Anyway, you know, for a while I used to sleep in on the weekends thinking, hey, sleep in on the weekends, right? Then I realized, I was thinking about it, the weekends are my time. So after I turned 50, I was like, you know what? I'm not sleeping in on my time. I'm waking up early. So now I wake up nice and early on the weekends. Say you got 48 hours for the weekend. I want all those 48 to be mine. So I sleep as less as I can on the weekends, because that's my time. So, one of my colleagues hates when you eat on a Teams or a Zoom call. So, David, this is for you. People like to show you how smart they are, right? So when I was younger and I didn't know something, I didn't want people to know that I didn't know it. And I felt kind of dumb. I am kind of dumb. But I kind of embraced that as I got older. And what I found out, or discovered, or come to the realization of, is people, they want to show you how smart they are, what they know. Not a negative. I'm not saying that in any kind of a negative way, but I'm just saying people like to do that. So what I've learned is you just tell somebody straight out that you're dumb or you don't know how to do something. It's probably the better way to say it. And you would like to know how something works, how something acts, what is the process. Can you explain, you know, can you articulate how this thing operates or something like that? And the right people, yeah, they'll tell you. They love, I wouldn't say they love to hear themselves talk, but they love to prove how knowledgeable they are. Now I view that as a very big positive, because if you really are excited to show me how smart you are and I actually need to know this stuff, then we both benefit. You feel good telling me and I learn. So I've learned as I gotten older, over 50, to not pretend I know something that I don't know, be very honest that I don't know, and find the people that know and the people who like to let you know that they know, and ask them, and you both will make out of that deal. So don't be ashamed looking stupid. You know, it's hard to look stupid when you, what's the saying, you don't know what you don't know, right? But again, it's a psychology thing. People love to show you how smart they are, and granted, there are some smart people that we got a lot to learn from, so everybody makes out in that deal. So we are here in Phoenix, and it is a little hot. I don't know if you can, that's coming up. It's like around 115 degrees. So this could be on a professional, personal, whatever. But one of the other things I've kind of realized getting older is how people remember things. And it's amazing. The things you don't think they're going to remember, they do. And they don't remember some of the things you think they're going to remember. I can be a grump sometimes. And usually I give kind of a tough guy impression first when I first meet somebody. And I don't know why I didn't with this one particular person, but we were on a meeting and my name came up somehow. And it was a big corporate meeting with the entire teams. There's like 5 different teams. And she says, I don't know why, I forget why I was the subject, but she told everybody she remembers the first conversation she had with me, and nobody would take her call, and everybody was busy, but I took her call, and I was extremely nice to her, super nice, and she just loved how nice I was and how kind and helpful. And everybody on the team were like, you're talking about Ray like that? It was kind of funny. But it really made me think that if that wasn't the first impression and I was being kind of a jerk, that's what she would have remembered. And man, that really hit me. I was about 48 years old. So I guess I could say now in my 50s, I know that how you treat people, first impressions are extremely important. But not only that, some people are listening to things you say. I've learned that too a couple of times. You know, have a lot of conversations, talk to a lot of people, and every now and then somebody says, hey, I remember when you said this one little thing, or you had this saying, and you know, it really meant something to me. And I say, wow, man, people actually do sometimes, you know, remember things, or I should say they like what you say, or they agree with what you say, or they find what you say is helpful, even to you if you're just babbling about nothing. So it's really important. I'm learning it's really important to be careful what you say, give it thought, try not to respond, you know, as my friend Anil would say, in a flow of consciousness, but to actually think about what you're saying and be deliberate, because people are listening, and something you say is going to give them an impression of who you are and how you are. So growing up, I tried to be interesting, you know, try to have reasons why people would want to talk to me or have me in their groups or whatever. And when I turned 50, or as I turned 50, I found it's a lot more fulfilling to be interested So instead of being interesting, being interested. So that's when I started to get a little bit more, not about me, but a lot more about other people and other things. Because I already know now, I'm not interesting. But there are a lot of other interesting people out there that I'm actually interested in. So I'm going to talk about something a little bit more different. I'm going to talk about stuff on a professional level. So when you're younger and you're going into a corporate office and you got to deal with other departments, sometimes they ask for things where you just don't have the resources, or they're stretching resources and time goals are a little bit ridiculous, and it pisses you off. And as I gotten older and been in this corporate world for a little while, start to realize somebody's KPI, or key performance indicator, a measurement of how they're doing, is why they're making these decisions. And they have their egos, and their egos also get in the way of that. So two things that I notice in the corporate world as I get older is always going to be your challenge, is people's egos and their KPIs or measurements or whatever. And you kind of get past and you just say, okay, whatever, you can only do what you can do. I've got some younger managers that I work with that you can tell they get really frustrated, and then all the older ones are just like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. So that's just one of the things you learn when you get older, is in a professional setting, you know, you're always going to have these challenges. They'll always come, and they always kind of just go away. So it is what it is. And welcome to the corporate world, right? For us old people. So one of the biggest lessons I've learned in turning 50 is the come on, you want to say hi to the camera? So the biggest lesson I learned is that life is a series of good things and bad things, a lot of them. And good things come, good things go, bad things come, bad things go. That is life. When I was younger, you know, I thought, I don't even know what I thought when I was younger. I just didn't know, you know, I didn't accept it. But now, if I have a bad day, I know it's going to be a bad day, and I'll ride the day through, and I know the next day could be bad or it could be good, but it was only fleeting. And there'll be good days as much as there's bad days, and nothing to fret about. You know, if you have a bunch of good days, you know that there's going to be a bad day coming up. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just life. And if there's some bad times, you could be rest assured that, you know, there's going to be good days coming up. And you have to accept them both, and accept that that's what life is, and don't let it stress you out or bother you, and just go with the flow. And getting older, more and more, I am relaxed and calm and understanding of things, and I'm kind of enjoying it. Yeah, physically, you go one way. It's not up, you kind of go down. But mentally, yeah, it's probably the best mental state I've ever been in my life is getting older and being over 50. And I really do enjoy it, because mental clarity and calm mind is invaluable. So if you're younger, two things. If you're younger, you're in your 20s and 30s, save a lot of money. Don't spend anything stupid or things you don't need. Buy things you have to have, like your food and, you know, any means, you know, to go throughout your day. Don't buy liabilities like expensive cars. If you're gonna buy things, purchase things that are gonna make you money, or at least hold their value. So that's the one thing, is be very responsible. You're gonna need that money when you're older. And the second thing is, life ain't that bad. You know, if you got a roof over your head, and you can feed yourself, and you can drink some water, and get loved by a couple of dogs, or maybe you got a great partner, that's all you need. It really, really is all you need. And as you get older, you start realizing that more and more. So, cheerio, and take care of yourself.